Well, my name is Martha Mann, and I designed the clothes in the first two Anne movies.
I'm the costume designer, which means that ultimately I'm responsible for the look of all the clothes that we see on the screen.
I have a small personal connection with Ellen Montgomery, which was my original interest in doing this, and my original interest, of course, was working with Kevin.
My grandmother was a great friend of Lucy Maud Montgomery's.
I was about 6 years old of her coming to my parents' house for dinner. And my father said something at the dinner table which she found interesting, and she took out a notebook and wrote it down, which even at 6 I thought was, extraordinary.
As a costume designer, I'd known Martha since my days at university, and we'd worked on many theater projects together, and she'd done several of my early films. She was the go-to person when I needed period wardrobe.
I spent a lot of time looking at specifically Canadian material. I mean, one of the bonanzas, which was, for me, was the Toronto Board of Education archives, which are extraordinarily extensive and filled with pictures of ordinary children in ordinary clothes in ordinary schools. I mean, there's nothing costumey about them. And they were a wonderful source of information. Usually, the only people who ever see these, because these are what are known as rough sketches, are the designer and the director. If a designer tells you that everything was exactly like they wanted it and it's perfect, they're either lying or blind or both. The clothes are interchangeable because, again, that's dealing with the reality of the period, that people didn't have enough clothes to change them every single day. The whole intent of designing clothes is that they will help the actor define and find the character. And if you've succeeded in doing that as a designer, plus the fact that they have some artistic integrity, then you've succeeded.
There's Martha behind me. I better do something good about the costumes. They're wonderful magic.
You can lie.
I think the costumes, like everything else, have just turned out to be really good for this production. I think the costumes capture an essence of the period and of a story and of a fairy tale in a sense, and they're very important in that way. So they're designed to just enhance almost the whole feeling of Anne of Green Gables, and they work very well in that way.
But you never know in any project that it is going to be either the success it is or the huge failure that it is, whichever way it goes. And there was always a certain amount of that with Anne, but it became very apparent very early on. It's not just working on the film, but it's the life of the film and how it's affected my life after it.
Martha had a very grand personality, and she brought that to the sense of the costumes, and I'll be forever grateful to her sense of theatricality, but her sense of detail, precision, and execution at the end of the day, because she made, no matter what it was that was a problem, work seamlessly.
It's a wonderful, wonderful dress, but as I said, I think this is its last outing on the screen. I think it be retired to the old dress heaven.